Dan Patrick joins me now. Dan, I know on your show you went straight up yes or no on your poll question. Was that the best catch your viewers and listeners had ever seen? What was the final count on that for your show?
I think it was about 52% that said it was. But I think physically you could make that argument, but contextually it's not, because it's not a postseason catch. It's an unbelievable grab. But there's nothing attached to it. You lost the game. It's a regular season game. It's a meaningless season for you. It's not anywhere near what David Tyree did in a Super Bowl. Even Antonio Freeman against the Vikings was an unbelievable catch. Terrell Owens against the Packers in the playoffs. Dwight Clark's with what it meant for the 49ers dynasty. Lynn Swann seemed to have one of those in every Super Bowl he played in. So awesome, unbelievable catch. He did it with 3 fingers, but I think if you're going to look at it in the context of how important it was and where it was, Santonio Holmes, he won a Super Bowl, tippy-toeing in the end zone against Arizona. So is it in the top 10? Sure, but it's not the greatest catch of all time.
So where would you fall on the poll question that we just threw out there with the Tyree, and you mentioned Santonio Holmes, the catch, Lynn Swann? Where would you place the mouse and click it on this poll question, Dan?
I would think that David Tyree, because you had Rodney Harrison, who couldn't have played any better defense, draped all over David Tyree. I think if you factor in everything there, Eli getting out of a sack, somehow scrambling, Mike Carey doesn't say he's in the grasp, throws to Tyree, holds on against his helmet, and then they score the touchdown with Plexico Burress. So in the context of what the catch meant, you'd be hard-pressed to find something that meant more and was a better catch than that one.
Yeah, Dan Patrick joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And so this catch thrown to a receiver by Eli Manning, and I'm imagining you were next to Rodney Harrison watching it, correct? You were with Rodney as it happened?
It was a little bit awkward because then we started talking about greatest catches of all time. And, of course, you look over and you go, oh, that's right, Rodney. But he was a good sport about it.
Yeah.
It was just there was that awkward moment where he said, "Come on, you're going to do me like that?" And I said, "I didn't. David Tyree did you like that."
Ooh.
I'm just bringing it up as a reference.
Don't
point.
shoot the messenger, Dan. Don't shoot the messenger.
No, absolutely. I just pointed out. My job is to point things out.
Now you've got Dallas at 8-3, Philadelphia at 8-3. You've got Green Bay, 8-3. Arizona sitting there at 9-2. Which is, in your estimation, the best NFC team right now, DP?
I'm going to go Green Bay.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Green Bay. I think their quarterback's playing better than any of the other quarterbacks, and it's a quarterback league. I think you have the running game. I think their defense is sort of similar to Dallas, where when they're on the field, they can make some plays. If I'm a Dallas fan, I'm concerned about my defense right now because I think you're starting to get a little bit tired, maybe get a little bit more exposed. But I'm going to go Green Bay begrudgingly. I did pick them to go to the Super Bowl, so that probably factors in. But I think the way they're playing and the fact the offensive line is finally playing well, and you go back to Green Bay and New England. These are two teams, after the first couple of weeks, we thought they'll be lucky to make the playoffs. And the key is you have an offensive line and a running game. You have Jonas, who comes in and then misses practice, and then you bring in LeGarrette Blount. That, to me, is pretty amazing. That tells you an awful lot about the offensive line. And Green Bay with Eddie Lacy, and now you have that showdown with those two at Lambeau this weekend. So I would pick those two teams in NFC, AFC.
Was that your preseason pick, Dan? Was that your preseason Super Bowl pick?
Yeah.
See how it all works
Yeah, and I
out?
felt really well when I was in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I'm on the sidelines watching that Thursday night opener, and I went, how did I not pick Seattle?
Right.
How did I pick Green Bay is what I said, and then I'm saying, how did I not pick Seattle? And Seattle's starting, the defense is getting healthier. Wagner came back. Chancellor. Now, and it's a different team when the defense is playing like that because if you score 21 points, you can win all of those games. It's a little bit different now. Secondary's physical. Beast mode. Russell Wilson making some plays. And you beat a good Arizona team. But, and then we were talking about Brady. Is he going to get benched for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
There were internet chatter about him being traded. And I went, you got to be kidding me here. Belichick is the best game-to-game coach I've ever seen. He changes his philosophy in accordance to who he's facing, and I think it's remarkable to be able to do that. In this day and age of free agency, interchangeable parts, he coaches game to game better than anybody I've ever seen in history.
And in terms of the you never know, you can't predict aspect of the NFL, when the schedule came out and Thanksgiving night, the triple header was going to finish up on NBC with the first appearance of the 49ers and Seahawks playing each other since the NFC Championship game, we thought for sure this is either for first place in the NFC West, if not the first place for the entire conference, the difference between winning the division or being a road playoff team to start it. And instead, it's technically an elimination game if you think about it, because neither of these teams are in first place when they're coming in on Thursday night.
Yeah. Now, Arizona's got a tough schedule down the stretch because they still have a Kansas City game. Their games, their tough games are at home, but you assume that Arizona's still going to be able to win that division. Seattle and San Francisco got 2 meetings against each other, Week 13, Week 15, and it might be they split. But, I just think there's going to be a toll playing each other twice in 3 weeks. But for those two to come down, if you said at the beginning of the year, what's this game going to mean? We would have thought, who's going to go to the Super Bowl? Now it's who's just going to get into the playoffs.
It is remarkable. Last question for you. I heard you talking with Dungy, as you always do on your Monday program, about reseeding the playoffs. A team that wins a division with a sub-500 record shouldn't get a home playoff game. My question for you is, if we can, right here, because I can run things up the NFL chain of command. I have that sort of connection. But I'm willing to have, in a way, an Eisen Patrick, or I'll even give you top billing, a Patrick Eisen sort of bill that I can run up the chain of command. That would you think, if a team finishes sub-500 winning a division, they should have to start on the road at the team with the best wild card spot, swapping 4 and 5, but 8 and 8 or better, you get your home playoff game that goes with winning a division. What do you think of that? Oh, let's get that out of committee right now.
I don't like knee-jerk reactions to it because we saw that with Seattle a couple of years ago, where Saints had to go to Seattle.
Beastquake happened. Yes.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often. I just think that every team right now in the NFC South is bad. I keep waiting for the Saints to actually be decent. The fact that Tampa's not eliminated yet.
Right.
It just.
So you don't like this idea?
I would like to see it, but I just think once we get into these, we're going to start stipulating and we're going to change things, and it doesn't happen often. So I'm going to – it's almost as if you get into the wild card with a sub-500 record in baseball. The danger of all of this is there's a chance that the team who represents the NFC South is going to win its first playoff game. And that's what's scary about it. No, it is. I know. I mean, who knows? Atlanta, New Orleans, they may end up winning their first playoff game. So then we're going to come back around and say, see, you had it wrong, or you were going to unfairly punish them. So let's leave it the way it is. If it happens next year, then we jump all over on the Eisen Patrick, whatever we're going to call this. We jump all over.
Okay, very good. I will table it
because nobody else can jump on it, Rich, because it'll be called the Eisen Patrick, whatever it's going to be.
We have put our marking on it.
So we're going to be the first.
Yes, we have earmarked it appropriately. DP,
yes,
you've got...
unless I go Patrick Eisen and then it changes.
We can have that discussion in committee, DP. In the meantime, have a great Thanksgiving if I don't... Well, I'll speak to you on your show later on the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Terrific. Yes. Dan Patrick, who's got Troy Aikman on tomorrow's program. Thank you for joining me, DP. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rich.
You bet.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.